so today I have swatches of the Zoya Sophisticates collection for fall 2017. There are 12 polishes here altogether. These are available right now, so I will link the Zoya website down below and I will get into the swatches. So the first polish is called McKenna, and this is a light kind of taupey nude color with a really fine pearl looking shimmer. So here is one coat. This one applies a bit streaky on the first coat. After a little while, those streaks kind of melt together and level themselves out, but they're not gone completely, so it is going to need a second coat. Good formula on this. The polish doesn't want to run or pool anywhere. It stays right where you put it on the nail. So here's two coats. And this one covers completely in two. You do have some very, very light, slight brush strokes through the shimmer, but the shimmer itself is so light that they are very hard to pick up. So just try to be careful to make the brush strokes as straight as possible, and I don't think you'll really be able to see them. So that is two coats of McKenna. So the next polish is called Beth, and this is a really interesting color. This is kind of like a dusty, lighter mauve color with this bronze shimmer that runs throughout it. So here's one coat. This one actually covers a lot better than I thought it would on the first coat because it is so shimmery. I can still see my nail line a little bit though, so I'm going to do two. And great formula on this one. So here's two coats. And this one does cover completely in two, and that second coat does make the color a little bit darker as well. There are some brush strokes through the shimmer after it's dry. They're not terrible, but you still want to be sure to make your strokes as straight as possible so that they aren't quite as noticeable when it's dry. So that is two coats of Beth. So the next polish is called Presley, and Zoya describes this as a smoky mauve taupe cream. So here is one coat. So this one actually covers pretty well on the first coat, still a little bit sheer, so it is going to need two. I am having to put a lot of this polish back into the bottle on this one. I'm just getting way too much. Good formula on this one. It's not too thick or too thin. It doesn't run down the sides of the nail at all. So here is two coats. And two coats does cover completely on this one, and it does deepen the color as well. And this also dries very shiny. So that is two coats of Presley. The next polish is called Joni, and Zoya describes this one as a deep, dusty plum cream. So here's one coat. And this one is definitely a bit sheer on that first coat, so it is going to need two. Great formula on this one. So here's two coats. This one does cover completely in two, and it does also deepen the color. This one and the last one both leveled themselves out really well. When you first put them on, it seemed like they were going to have ridges, but they smoothed out really well as they dried. So that is two coats of Joni. The next polish is called Hera, and Zoya describes this one as a muted red mauve cream. So here's one coat. This one has amazing coverage on the first coat. I'm going to add a second, but I'm being very, very picky. I just have a couple of light spots near the end of my nails that I want to cover up. But I think depending on your application or your preference, you could definitely get away with this in one. What's interesting about this being so opaque is that the formula feels a little bit thinner than the other creams that I've used so far in the collection as well, which usually you'd think it would be the opposite with coverage like this. It's not too thin at all, but it's definitely a little bit thinner. I actually might even prefer this thinner formula to the last two creams. So here's two coats. So this covers completely in two, and that second coat definitely makes the color a bit deeper as well. So that is something to consider if you were thinking about only doing one coat. You will get a darker color with two. And this one also levels itself out really nicely and dries very shiny. So that is two coats of Hera. The next polish is called Padma, and this is described by Zoya as a deep vermilion red cream. Here it is next to Hera because they are close, and I did want to, whoa, Hera's like really dirty. Because they are close, and I did want to show how Padma is a little bit darker. So here's one coat. So this one also covers really well on the first coat. It will need two to even out the rest of it. Do have a few light spots, and it's also going to deepen the color, I'm assuming. Great formula on this one as well. So here's two coats. And this one does cover completely in 2, and that second coat does change the color a bit. And just like the other creams, this levels itself out really well and dries very shiny. So that is 2 coats of Padma. So the next polish is called Gal, and this is a kind of greeny gold metallic shimmer. So here's 1 coat. So this one is very sheer on the first coat. You could definitely use this as a topper as well. Good formula. Again, it doesn't want to go anywhere once you put it on the nail. It doesn't run or pool anywhere on the nail. So here's 2 coats. This one builds up really well on the second coat. I do still have a bit of nail line showing, so I am going to do a third just to cover that up. And there are little red flecks in here that you can see on the nail but didn't show very well in the bottle. So here's 3 coats. And this one does cover completely in 3. I said on the first coat that I think you could use this as a topper. I still think that, but I also think it would be really easy to get it uneven from nail to nail, to do too thick of a coat on one nail, too thin of a coat on another nail, and have them not all look uniform. So you would want to be very careful with that. So that is 3 coats of Gal. The next polish is called Yvonne, and this is described by Zoya as a rich Bordeaux red cream. So here's 1 coat. And this covers really well on the first coat, just a little bit of nail line and a few uneven spots. Great formula on this one as well. All the creams so far have been really good. So here's 2 coats. And this one does cover completely in 2 and darkens the color pretty significantly. Also dries it very shiny like all the other ones. So that is 2 coats of Yvonne. So the next polish is called Mona, and this is described as a deep burgundy plum cream. I do want to show this next to Yvonne so you can see that it is a bit darker. So here's 1 coat. This is not quite a 1-coater for me. I do have a few light spots, but it's very, very close. I think maybe once this is a little bit older, it's been used a few times, has thickened up a little bit, it will be opaque in 1. And a great formula on this one as well. So here's 2 coats. And this one covers completely in 2. And I said before how these level themselves out really nicely. I'm extra shaky today, so I'm really not doing very even coats, and they're still managing, the polishes are still managing to level out those ridges that I'm leaving from my application. So that is 2 coats of Mona. The next polish is called Tabitha, and this is a kind of dark foresty green color with that really fine pearl shimmer. So here is 1 coat, and this one is a bit sheer on that first coat. There are some brush strokes through that shimmer when it's wet. They're not terrible, but I am trying to make them as straight as possible. So here's 2 coats. And this one covers completely in 2. Those brush strokes do go away quite a bit as it dries, and especially after that second coat is on and the color's a lot darker, they're really not that bad anyway. So that is 2 coats of Tabitha. The next polish is called Elaine, and this is a very dark, slightly purpley brown cream. So here's 1 coat. And this one is a bit uneven on that first coat, so it will take 2. Great formula on this one as well. So here is 2 coats. And this one covers completely in 2. This is very, very dark once it's dried. I think for a lot of people this is probably just going to look black. I guess it depends on the lighting. I don't have any sun today, so I can't really double check. But in this lighting, it looks black. So that is 2 coats of Elaine. And the last polish is called Hadley, and this is a very dark, kind of slate blue cream. So here is 1 coat. And this is very opaque on that first coat, just a couple of light spots that I want to cover up. This is another one that I think, depending on your application, or especially after the bottle has been used a couple of times, will be a 1-coater. And a great formula on this as well. So here is 2 coats. And 2 coats does cover up those few light spots that I had, but like I said, this was really close in 1. I don't really think everyone's going to need a second coat, and that second coat didn't change the color at all either. and this is another one that's probably going to look black in most lighting. So that is 2 coats of Hadley. So I think my favorite is going to be Presley. I like this kind of dusty, darker, purpley neutral color. I really like these colors in general, and I really like them on my skin tone as well, so that one is my favorite. So that is the Zoya Sophisticates collection for fall 2017. Again, I will link the Zoya website down below. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will talk to you later. Bye.